The dream of Sagittarius wandering through the forest. What's really happening? A chilling omen for April. I want you to take a few quiet minutes. Has everything been slowing down in an inexplicable way? Conversations suddenly feel heavy. Work that once seemed smooth is now tangled in things beyond your control. Someone you never expected has turned their back on you. A project that once seemed almost complete slips away as if it was never truly yours. Do you feel like you've been placed in a maze, while the world outside keeps turning as usual? And then, one night, you dream that you're walking through a forest. A dense forest covered in mist. No way out. No voices. Only the sound of your own footsteps on dried leaves, echoing as if each step takes you further from something you once deeply believed in. If you are a Sagittarius, the zodiac sign tied to light, to knowledge, to freedom, then this dream is not random. It is a calling. A warning. A message from the universe. Written in images, in symbols, in the celestial movements invisible to the human eye. I have spent over half a century listening to recurring dreams. Dreams that jolt people awake, with their hearts racing and the sense that something just slipped away. And I know this, when a Sagittarius dreams of being lost, it is no longer just a dream. It becomes an invisible map, pointing to what is about to unfold in your work, your finances, and your relationships, especially this April. Don't go anywhere. Because in the next 30 minutes, I'll take you into that dream forest, a place that feels disoriented at first, but is actually the beginning of a destiny deeper than anything you've ever lived. And if your heart feels something strangely familiar, uncannily real, leave a comment. I am ready to find the path of my destiny. Because that sentence, simple as it seems, is the first step to opening the door out of the forest. It's a signal for the energy of the universe to start leading the way. If any of this touches a deep part of your soul, share this video with someone who is also in search of a way forward. Because the light you ignite today may be the lifeline someone else desperately needs. Now sit down and listen. We will begin with that dream. Not to fear it, but to understand. Not to avoid it, but to decode what the universe is quietly whispering to the soul of a Sagittarius. When you find yourself lost in a forest, it is more than just a dream. For a Sagittarius who lives with an outward instinct, whose inner flame of knowledge never ceases to burn, the image of the forest holds even deeper meaning. It is not merely a symbol of confusion, but a sign that your work and financial life are entering a phase of true challenge. A phase where the light of reason and faith is temporarily obscured by the mist of doubt, poor decisions, and perhaps even schemes that you haven't yet uncovered. In astrology, every image in a dream reflects a specific planetary motion. And the forest, with its chaos, disorientation, and haunting feeling of being watched, aligns powerfully with Sagittarius's 6th house this April. The 6th house governs daily work, productivity, responsibility, and especially financial health. When Mercury goes retrograde in this very area, Sagittarius may feel mentally clouded in decision-making. What once felt certain, now turns vague. A contract you thought was secured is suddenly delayed. A promising client goes silent. A trusted coworker grows distant. And what hurts you most isn't the events themselves, it's the ambiguity in each sign. Each glance. Each word that hides something you can't quite name. That is the feeling of walking through the forest. You keep moving, but there's no exit. And the deeper you go, the further you drift from the light you once stood in. You begin to question yourself. Have I done something wrong? Did I miss an opportunity without realizing it? Is the universe testing my patience in the harshest way? Remember, Sagittarius is the sign of learning, of trust, of expansion. But in April, Saturn moves through your 3rd house, the house of thinking, learning, and communication. This can tighten your perspective. You absorb less, hear less, and your confidence in the path you've chosen begins to waver. You may feel disillusioned with work that once inspired you. You might hesitate between two career options. Or realize that the place you've placed your trust may not have deserved it. And that's when the forest appears in your dream, as a mirror reflecting your inner unrest. A warning that unless you stop to redefine your direction, you'll keep wandering in the dark of unclear decisions. April is not the time to sign, invest, or expand anything unless its essence is crystal clear. Mercury retrograde turns every promise into a double-edged sword. You may be presented with a tempting opportunity, but ask your heart. Is this true light, or just a flicker that will lure me deeper into the woods? You might feel drawn to a new project or tempted to make a bold move, but the universe is asking you to slow down. Because the faster you run through the dark forest, the more likely you are to crash into unseen traps. This is not a month for impulsive actions. It's a time to observe, reflect, and cleanse your goals. When you see images in your dream like a fallen tree blocking your path, or twisted roots making the ground difficult to walk on, these may represent invisible obstacles in your current job. That's when you must ask, am I doing this out of true passion, or simply out of habit and obligation? Am I walking my own path, or repeating a path someone else designed for me? Sagittarius was not born to live in confinement. But sometimes, too much freedom causes you to lose track of your own compass. And April is the month when the universe will gently but firmly call you back to realignment. Don't be surprised if you face financial hardship. Don't be disheartened if a project stalls. Don't panic if a few sources of income vanish without explanation. This is when the universe clears away false paths so you can see the true one. But you must stay alert. You must listen to the dream. And you must learn to walk slowly, instead of panicking and rushing forward. The question isn't, what will I lose? It's, what am I being prepared to receive that is far greater? A forest, no matter how dense, always has a way out. And if you dream of being inside it, it means you are being called to begin a new journey of professional realignment. Not by abandoning everything, but by discerning between what merely pays the bills and what truly makes your soul bloom. Trust that no dream arrives without reason. And no challenge comes to Sagittarius without carrying within it the seed of transformation. You are in the middle of your forest now. And the only thing you need at this moment is the quiet courage to look again at your direction. Not all light is true. But not all darkness is harmful either. As long as you hold on to your inner flame, the flame of Sagittarius, you will find your way through that forest, safer and more deeply than ever before. April is not the month for you to rush into signing contracts, investing, or expanding anything unless you truly see its essence. Mercury retrograde will make every promise come with two sides. You may encounter a very tempting offer, but ask your heart, is it real light, or just a false glow leading you deeper into the forest? Maybe you're being drawn into a new project, or you're feeling the urge to break out and prove yourself, but the universe is asking you to slow down. Because the faster you run in the dark forest, the more likely you are to crash into unseen obstacles. This is not a month for reckless action. This is a time to observe, reflect, and cleanse your goals. And when you see images like a tree blocking your path, or a stretch of road tangled with roots in your dream, that could be a symbol of the invisible obstacles in your current work. That's when you need to ask, am I doing this out of true passion, or just out of habit and responsibility? Am I walking my own path, or simply treading a road someone else paved for me? Sagittarius was not born to live in confinement. But sometimes, too much freedom causes you to forget how to steer your direction. And April is the month when the universe will gently but firmly pull you back into reality so you can examine each of your steps again. Don't be surprised if you face financial difficulties. Don't be disheartened if a project gets delayed. Don't worry if some streams of income suddenly disappear. Because that is when the universe is sweeping away the false roads so you can see the true one. But you need to stay alert. You need to listen to the dream. And you need to learn to walk more slowly, rather than panic and charge ahead. The important question is not, what will I lose? It is, what am I being purified for? To receive something greater? A forest, no matter how dense, always has an exit. And if you dream of being inside it, that means you are being called to begin a journey of realigning your career. Not by throwing everything away, but by distinguishing between the work that merely sustains you and the mission that truly makes your soul bloom. Believe that no dream comes without reason. And no challenge happens to Sagittarius without carrying within it an opportunity for change. You are now in the middle of your forest. And the only thing you need right now is the quiet to look back at your path. Not every light is true. But not every darkness is evil either. As long as you hold onto the inner flame, the flame of Sagittarius, you will find your way through the forest. More safely and profoundly than ever before. There is a detail in the dream that, if you are a Sagittarius, you should not overlook. It is when you are lost in a fog-covered forest, and from afar, you suddenly see a small light. It is not big. Not clear. But it is enough to make you stop. And in that moment, your heart tells you something your mind cannot explain, go toward it. If you've ever had a dream like that, or a similar feeling in waking life, then listen closely to this part. Because that light is not just a symbol. It is a message. A sign that someone is coming, bringing an opportunity you never expected. And what matters most is this. You need to be clear-minded enough to recognize them. In astrology, light in a dream is a symbol of awakening, of hope, and guidance. When it appears in the middle of a tangled forest, that is when the universe is sending you a person, an invitation, or a connection written in destiny. For Sagittarius, this April, that light may very well be a real person. Not loud. Not arriving with glory or fanfare. But with quiet presence, right on time. They could be someone you once met but never kept in touch with. An old friend you thought had left your life. Or even a stranger, who, at first glance, feels like someone you've known forever. That is how the universe works. It brings the right person, at the right moment, to help you shift direction. Especially when you're stuck in the haze of work and financial pressure. What's especially remarkable in the astrology of April this year is the conjunction of Venus and the Moon in Sagittarius's 11th house. The 11th house represents friends, social relationships, like-minded souls, and especially support from the community. This alignment sends a clear message. Someone who stands outside your current circle, not someone you see every day, will appear. And offer you a new doorway in your finances or career. But Sagittarius must remember one important thing. This light does not come to drag you out of the forest. They won't act for you. They won't make the decisions you need to make. They only hand you the lantern. Whether or not you walk toward that light is your choice. Many Sagittarians often miss precious opportunities not because no one helped them, but because they failed to recognize that the help they needed had already arrived. That person may say just one thing that awakens you. They may send you what seems like a small job offer, but inside it lies a string of opportunities that only reveal themselves once you take the first step. Sagittarius lives for the future. But sometimes, by looking too far ahead, you forget what is right in front of you. Remember this. True light never arrives in the form you expect. And neither does the person who brings you financial fortune. So how do you recognize that light in real life? Pay attention to unexpected conversations in April. Pay attention to people who remind you of something that once excited you. Pay attention to those who feel oddly familiar from the very first meeting. Because the universe does not send light in loud ways. It is always subtle, like a ray of sunlight piercing through the morning mist. Just enough to catch your attention, if you're willing to pause. If you're feeling tired from work, discouraged because money isn't coming as expected, then that light will be the first sign that you don't have to keep trying alone. There is someone, or a group of people, ready to walk with you. But they won't appear if you keep running. They only show up when you stop and look around. When you allow yourself to believe that you deserve support. Once again, I remind you, the light in your dream is not an empty promise. It is a map. And the person you are about to meet, if you are quiet enough to recognize them, is the one holding the key to unlock a new financial chapter for you. It could be a business partnership. It could be a referral to a job that matches a talent you forgot you had. It could be unexpected funding for an idea you thought you had given up on. And if you have ever dreamed of walking toward that light in the forest, then congratulations. You are ready. Ready to step out of your darkness and receive something new, something right, something meant for you. You don't need to know everything. You just need to trust the first step. And if you're hearing me now, take this as a signal. Don't ignore calls from people from your past. Don't overlook messages that stir up old beliefs. And if someone offers to help you this month, don't dismiss it too quickly. They could be the very light your dream has shown you long ago. In the journey of any dream, light is often followed by shadow. And in the forest where you, a Sagittarius, are walking, if the light is a sign of external help, then the shadows, the quiet footsteps behind you, are omens you should not ignore. They are not just fear. They are signals that you are being watched, tested by those who are not sincere in your social connections. Even in the work where you've invested your full heart. Have you ever felt like someone is behind the rumors, the vague reactions on social media, the eyes that aren't truly warm even when they smile at you? Yes, those are the shadows in the forest of your dream. Astrology for April shows a very significant point on the chart of Sagittarius. Mars, the planet of conflict, confrontation, and the instinct to fight, is creating tension with your 7th house, which governs one-on-one relationships. This means that not all your current connections stem from goodwill. And even worse, some people are hiding their true feelings, not to protect you, but to observe you, to wait for your weakest moment. As a Sagittarius who is open-hearted, generous, and easily trusting, you may fall into the trap of giving too much without receiving anything meaningful in return. In the workplace, you might be used, made into the background for someone else's success, or placed in awkward situations within toxic relationships. If, in your dream, you see someone walking behind you, or hear strange noises but cannot see a face, that is a clear symbol. Someone in your real life is hiding in the shadows, yet influencing you more than you realize. It could be a colleague who once seemed helpful, but is now spreading your private matters. It could be a person you trusted completely, who is secretly competing with you in work or love. And perhaps most unsettling, it might be someone you never even suspected. Sagittarius tends to forgive quickly and doesn't hold grudges. But that doesn't mean you have to keep letting the same shadows repeat their damage. This April, see your dreams as wake-up calls. Pay attention to who keeps asking about your life, but never really listens when you share. Who always wants to know your future plans, but never offers constructive input. Who stands by you when you shine, but quietly disappears when you're struggling. The universe is reminding you through dream symbols that it's time to purify your circle. You don't have to cut anyone off, but you need to redefine their place in your journey. Not everyone is meant to walk with you to the end. Some people are just temporary companions, students, teachers, or sometimes, simply lessons. Don't let guilt keep you in a relationship you know is unhealthy. Don't let habit pull you back to those who've hurt you before. And don't think that setting boundaries is selfish. For Sagittarius, it is a necessary act to protect the inner fire of freedom. And don't ignore your intuition. This month, if something feels off during a conversation, or when you're near someone, trust that feeling. Dreams are how your subconscious speaks to you when you haven't had time to hear yourself. And the images of shadows, blocked forest paths, or a strange silence in the air, are all whispers telling you to stay alert. But you don't need to be afraid. Because the universe doesn't show you these things to scare you. It shows them to help you become aware, to grow, and to become stronger in how you choose your relationships. When you know who's sincere and who's not, you'll stop feeling lost. When you recognize the shadows, you'll know which light is real. And when you stand up to protect your boundaries, those who don't align will leave on their own. Remember, you don't need many people around you. You just need the right ones. The ones who let you be yourself without effort. The ones who don't need you to shine all the time, but are still there when you're lost. And if this month, you find someone like that, cherish them. Because in the midst of shadows, their presence is the proof that you are not alone. You may have gone too deep into the forest to turn back. But you've never gone so far that you can't stop and choose a different path. And perhaps it is those very shadows, those very wounds from relationships, that will serve as the mirror to show you who the true light is, the one you need to walk with on the path ahead. The road ahead isn't always straight. Sometimes, in the very moment you feel most lost, that is exactly when the universe places a turn right in front of you. A turn that, if you don't pause, if you aren't quiet enough to listen, you will miss. In the dream, if you've ever found yourself suddenly entering a small, unexpected path, a trail different from the one you've been walking, that is not just coincidence. It is a sign that you are nearing a major transformation, not just in your career, but in your social role, your personal identity, and the way you connect with the world. I have always believed that each person is born with their own arc, and for Sagittarius, that arc is not just a symbol. It is a mission. A gift for direction, inspiration, and forging new paths. But if you've spent too many years running on just one track, you will lose the ability to recognize the turns that could lead you to where you truly belong. Life is not a straight line. It is a labyrinth. And sometimes, the only turn that can help you escape the cycle of stagnation is the very thing you've been most hesitant about: change. On the Sagittarius chart this April, a subtle but powerful shift is taking place. Uranus, the planet of surprise, breakthroughs, and revolution, is forming a trine to your Sun. What does that mean? It means a new opportunity, a new role, or a completely different way of working is slowly revealing itself. But you will only see it if you are willing to admit that maybe what you've been doing all this time no longer reflects who you truly are. I know that for many who have passed the midpoint of life, the idea of starting over feels extravagant. But in truth, what we fear is not starting over. What we fear is not knowing what we're starting for. We fear leaving behind a familiar job, a stable social role, or a habit that gives us a sense of safety. But do you know what? It's that very feeling of being too safe that sometimes keeps you from getting closer to what is truly meant for you. I once had a friend who was a Sagittarius, working in finance for 20 years. Stable, successful, respected. But one night, he dreamed he was standing at a crossroads. One side was a bustling boulevard, the other a small dirt path covered in dry leaves. In the dream, no one gave directions. There were no signs. No one told him where to go. But he chose the small path. 3 months later, he left his stable job and started a community education project, teaching financial literacy to young people in rural areas. Everyone thought he was crazy. But in less than 2 years, that project was nationally recognized. And most importantly, for the first time in years, he told me he finally felt authentic. I share that so you understand one thing: the universe always sends signals. The issue is not whether you have the talent. The issue is, do you have the courage to take a new direction when the turn appears? If you're feeling uninspired in your current job, if you no longer feel connected to your work environment or the people around you, if your inner voice keeps telling you, you were born to do something else, then don't dismiss it. That could be the very turn you dreamed of last night. That could be the universe saying, it's time to become the version of yourself you once promised to be. The greatest lesson in this part is not about what you have to give up. It's about whether you believe that life still holds a new chapter for you. A chapter that doesn't repeat the old narrative, that doesn't copy familiar roles, but one you write by hand, for yourself. You may not need to change careers, but you can change how you show up in that career. You may not need to leave your current position, but you can redefine your role, from executor to leader, from observer to guide. Sagittarius was not born just to follow. You were born to create your own path. And this April is the universe's official invitation for you to begin that journey. If what I've said touches something inside you, if your heart is beating faster for a reason you can't name, then don't ignore it. Leave a comment under this video. I am ready to turn and step into the life that truly belongs to me. Because that affirmation is the first action that hands back the steering wheel of your life to your own hands. If this resonates with you, send this video to a friend. Maybe they, too, are standing at a turn in their own forest. Life doesn't ask, are you ready? It only asks, do you dare? Every dream eventually ends. But the way it ends says so much about where you're standing in real life. If you're a Sagittarius, and you've dreamed of walking through a foggy forest, the real question is not how far you've gone, but how the dream ended. Did you find your way out? Did you see the light? Or were you still lost among twisting paths, waking up with your heart pounding and a feeling that something was left unfinished? I've always believed, the end of a dream is not the final bell of the story. It is the moment you're offered a new choice in waking life. And for Sagittarius, born to expand, to inspire, that dream is a gentle but resolute reminder that the relationships you maintain, the way you connect with others, and the social role you hold may no longer reflect who you really are today. This April, astrological movements are opening a powerful energy field tied to your 3rd and 11th houses. One governs your communication. The other, your social network. Both are being activated by strong awakening aspects from the stars. That means, the universe is giving you the chance to refresh your social ties, re-examine long-standing connections, and be ready to walk away from things that no longer serve you, not because you're cold, but because your soul has outgrown its old shell. I once believed, the older we get, the more people we need around us. But over time, I learned the opposite. The clearer we understand ourselves, the fewer people we need, so long as they are the right ones. Not those who always applaud you, but those who tell you the truth when you need it. Not those who show up when you shine, but those who sit quietly beside you when you don't know what to do. If in your dream, you escaped the forest or saw an opening into the light, that means, you're ready to enter a new stage in your social life. You will start attracting people of the same energy, more aligned communities, connections that not only offer companionship, but also bring career and financial opportunities. This is a strong sign. You're beginning to rebuild your network, not for recognition, but to live more truthfully. But if the dream ended with you still stuck, or waking up midway through, that's a message. There are relationships you still haven't let go of. Maybe it's a friendship that's lost its spark, a work relationship based on obligation, or a group you stay in out of habit. And when you can't let go, you become the one who's lost, even if you're still walking forward every day. The most profound lesson I've ever learned is this: not all relationships have to end in conflict. Some simply end in the right silence. A quiet step back so you can breathe. A gentle goodbye in your heart. Enough for you to leave without bitterness. That is how an awakened soul ends things. And if you feel that someone is no longer aligned with your path, don't stay just to avoid hurting them. Because every time you stay for someone else, and ignore your true feelings, you're rejecting a part of the light the universe is sending you. Sagittarius was born to move. Not just outward, but inward. Into experience. Into knowledge. Into the journey of the soul. And to do that, you must be brave enough to ask yourself, who is truly walking with me, and who is holding me back in the dark woods of the past? I don't know where you are in your journey. But if you're hearing this, I believe the universe is whispering something to you. Maybe it's a nudge to let go. Maybe it's an invitation to step out. Or maybe it's a sign that the light you're searching for was never lost. It's still there, inside you. Just hidden beneath connections you forgot to cleanse. If what I just said resonates with you at your deepest core, leave a comment. I am ready to step out of my own forest. Because sometimes, simply admitting that you're ready is the first step for the universe to begin guiding you. And if you find this video meaningful, share it with someone who feels lost, because perhaps you are the light in their forest. A dream doesn't end so you can forget. It ends to ask you one question. Do you dare to live differently starting tomorrow? And if your answer is yes, then trust me, the most extraordinary part is still ahead.